Hello students and welcome to my channel. In this session we will be learning Standard 10th English Kumar Bharati Unit 1 1.1 poem Where the Mind is Without Fear by the great poet Rabindranath Tagore. Before we begin with the poem, let us have an introduction of the great poet Rabindranath Tagore. Rabindranath Tagore 1861 to 1941 was the author of Gitanjali and its profoundly sensitive, fresh and beautiful verse. He became the first non-European to win the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1913. This poem is one of his vastly read and discussed poems. It was originally composed in Bengali and later he himself translated it into English. This poem is from his Nobel Prize winning anthology Gitanjali. Anthology, it means a published collections of the poems or other writings is called as anthology. Tagore lived during the time when India was ruled by the British. In this poem, besides political freedom from British, Tagore also appeals to God for social, educational and economic freedom for the people of India. Let's read the poem Where the Mind is Without Fear. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where the knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arm towards perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into dreary desert, sand of dead habit, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever-widening thought and action. Into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. By Rabindranath Tagore. Now, let us have a line-to-line explanation of the poem. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where the knowledge is free. In the first line of the poem, the poet prays to the Almighty that his countrymen should be free from any fear of the forced compulsion. He wishes that everyone in his country has head held high in dignity. In other words, according to the poet, in a truly free country, every person should be fearless and should have a sense of self-dignity. The figures of speech used in the first line of the poem is alliteration, because the sound of the letter W in the words where and without, and the sound of the letter H in the word head, held and high are repeated for poetic effect. Also, other figure of speech used here is synecdoche, because here the mind and head apart stand for citizen as whole. Let us have the explanation of the second line, where the knowledge is free. In the second line of the poem, the poet dreams of a nation where knowledge should be free. Education should not be restricted only to the upper class, but everyone should be allowed to acquire the knowledge. Not only this, but also the children should learn freely from the nature. Next line. Where the world is not broken into fragments by narrow domestic walls. Here fragments, it means small parts broken off or separated from something, and narrow domestic walls, it means division on the basis of religion, caste, class and color in societies and between the countries of the world. In the two lines that the poet emphasizes the unity of not only of our countrymen but also of the entire world. The poet thinks that there should be no division among the people based upon their caste, upon their color, their religion, or any other baseless superstition things. In other words, the poet says that superstitions and wrong belief should not divide the people in groups and break their unity. Now let us see which are the figures of speech used in these lines of the poem. In the third line of the poem, the third and the fourth line of the poem, the figures of speech used here is alliteration because the sound of the letter W in the word where and world and sound of the letter B in the words broken and by are repeated for poetic effect. In the fourth line of the poem, that is by narrow domestic walls, the figure of speech used here is metaphor because an indirect comparison has been made between narrow domestic walls and the narrow-minded divisions in the society. Let's learn the next lines of the poem, the fifth line and the sixth line of the poem, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arm towards perfection. Here, tireless striving, it means continuous efforts and struggle, and stretches its arm, it means aims at achieving a goal. In the fifth line of the poem, Tagore warns the nations where people are truthful. They should be truthful, and truthfulness should only be the dominant quality of the people of our nation. And in the sixth line, the poet wants everyone in our nation to work hard and to reach their goal and to achieve the perfection. He thinks that the people should not be tired of working hard. People should not be lazy and ignore their work. Now let us see which figure of speech are used in this lines of the poem. In the sixth line, the figure of speech used is personification because an inanimate object's striving has been given the human qualities of being tireless and stretching its arms. Next lines, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into dreary desert, sand of dead habit. Here clear, it means transparent, and stream, a small narrow river, dreary, dull, and dead habit, it means old traditional rituals and customs that are harmful. In the seventh line of the poem, the poet compares reason or logical thinking to a clear stream. And in the eighth line, that is into dreary desert, sand of dead habit, he compares the dead habit to the superstitious belief and also to all the old baseless rituals and customs which were without any thoughts and logic. The poet wants the stream of reasons not to lose its way into the desert of prejudices. In short, he says that people's thought should be rational. People should be logical in their thoughts. And the logic should rule over the old baseless belief. Now let us focus on the figures of speech used in the lines. In the seventh line of the poem, the figure of speech used here is personification because an inanimate objects like the stream has been given the human quality of losing its way. Also a figure of speech used, another figure of speech used here is metaphor because an indirect comparison has been made between clarity of a stream and reason. Now let us see which figure of speech is used in the eighth line of the poem. That is in the line, into dreary desert, sand of dead habit. Here two figures of speech are used. First one is alliteration because the sound of the letter D in the word dreary, desert and dead are being repeated for poetic effect. Other figure of speech used here is metaphor, because an indirect comparison has been made between the word habit and desert. The next lines of the poem: where the mind is led forward by thee into ever-widening thought and action. Meaning of the word thee is you, that is the Old English, and ever widening, it means forever broadening one's outlook. In the 9th and the 10th line of the poem, the poet wishes his countrymen to be progressive and broad-minded. He wants that their mind should be led forward to the ever-widening thoughts and action by the Almighty, that is by the God. In short, he thinks that the people should be open-minded and they should do something unusual or extraordinary. Now let us see which is the figure of speech used in this line of the poem. That is, the figure of speech used here is synecdoche. Here, mind, a part, it stands for the citizen whole. The last line of the poem: into that heaven of freedom, my father, let my country awake. Here, heaven of freedom, it means condition of total freedom of good thoughts, good words, and good actions. In the final line of the poem, the poet addresses the God as the Father. He prays to the Father to awaken his country to a heaven of freedom where all the above conditions meet. The poet also prays to the Father, that is to the Almighty, to raise or to lift his country to a height where freedom would be realized at its best. He also prays that his countrymen should come out from the darkness and from the ignorance and all the evils that stops the progress of the nation. Now let's see the figures of speech used in the final line of the poem. Personification, because an inanimate object country has been given the human quality of waking up. Also, apostrophe figure of speech is used as a direct address has been made to Father, that is God, who is not present there. So this is the end of the poem Where the Mind is Without Fear, written by the great poet Rabindranath Tagore. I hope you all have understood the poem well. Thank you, students.